Namaste, my dears. I want to welcome you back to the channel. And today I got a special question from a friend from Switzerland, from Denise, and I'll read it up to you. So, hello Vadim, this is Denise. I wonder if you have made or would like to make a YouTube video about this question. What do you change working from hemp marijuana as a shaman to working with Amanita? And what is your view on the spirit of marijuana compared to Amanita? I feel many young people in Europe who call themselves hemp shamans are not grounded, and marijuana can be tricky, even addictive, while Amanita feels safer and more healing. I'd love to hear your perspective and experience both for myself and to have clear arguments when speaking with others about this topic. Thank you so much. So I'll share some insights. Eventually, I feel that on this topic I can read very long lectures, as I have a good experience in working with medicine plants, especially with marijuana and cannabis, and knowing which benefits and side effects it can bring to a human person. And is it really effective for people to work with it? So first of all, I'll share a little bit of my connection with this medicine plant. So when I started my shamanic path, back then psychedelic mushrooms were very hard accessible, and they were growing only once a year. So I was searching for a different medicine plant with which I could work with other people. When I traveled to the Himalayas for the first time, there I met a saint, a holy person, who was doing very deep spiritual work with the spirit realm and the souls. They're called agoris. As a result, there I got my initiation in understanding and working with this medicine plant. Later on, I continued my practice and focus, and I used it every time for spiritual development and awakening. Once I have learned to do that, so to use this energy to increase my state of consciousness and then to do healing work, I decided to work with my close circle and have helped and healed my friends in teaching how to learn to work with this medicine plant. So my results were that when I'm next to them, everything is good. Eventually they go to a more higher frequency, they start to become more conscious, they start to become more open, more deeper. But if I'm not there, downfall. They become lazy, they become very stiff, they become very stupid because their brain doesn't function normally. They become, let's say, as we call them, vegetables. And then I understood that actually it wasn't the medicine plant which was doing the healing work, it was my personal consciousness and my personal energy field which was creating the magic around them. And it wasn't cannabis. You have to understand that cannabis is most probably one of the most dirty medicine plants which right now exist in the world, because every person has access to it. For example, with magical mushrooms, there's only specific people that work. With ayahuasca, it's also super dirty right now as more and more people use it, but still it's a lot more, let's say, focused, and less people can have access to it. But cannabis, it has been legalized in so many parts of the world as very simple people who are drinking alcohol and now smoking weed have entered the energy field of the cannabis field. For example, I lived in Estonia, I traveled all around the world, I've been in many places when legalization was happening. I was even in Canada a week later after it was legalized. I was in Thailand here, the moment I arrived here, that day it got legalized in Thailand, and that was in 22, around the 1st of June. So I got to experience and to see how this is my Estonian country, it's very corrupt, and the cannabis business, it is under the control of the police and a very small group of people, as it brings high profit. And as a result, it was very interesting to see how the country and the land and the culture changes when the weed is being legalized, as there are many benefits of which people speak. But I can tell you of the negative sides. On one hand, let's say it becomes more legal and safe. On the other hand, normal people who are not on the spiritual path get access to medicine plant to which they should better not have access. If they do it from time to time for their own healing, it's easy. But when people start to abuse this medicine plant, they start to fall down. This is especially, cannabis is very dangerous, not even so much for women as for men. Why for man, cannabis is super destructive, especially if you're not on a spiritual path. First of all, it makes you feel comfortable inside of your problems. So on one hand, your energy increases, but at the same time, your level of emotions lowers down. Your level of feelings lowers down. Your level of critical mindset lowers down. Your level of desires lowers down. Your level of anger usually transforms and you're not angry anymore. And so for a man, that is super destructive. Remember words. Cannabis and the structure of aggressiveness inside of a man is super destructive for the evolution and the spiritual growth of the man. One of the basic things which every man needs to have is the strength to stand up for himself and to stand up for the ones that he loves or for what he feels right. We live in a society where man and people are already afraid to show their strength, to stand up for the right good. People are afraid even to speak out their opinions. I'm not even speaking in using physical force when it's using. People are afraid of literally saying an opinion about the other person that he, let's say, won't feel offended. And as a result, this creates a society filled with, let's say, people who are manipulating on an emotional level through the emotional intelligence profoundly with other people. And mostly such people are psychologically unmature, and very often they have mental sicknesses and illnesses, which eventually they're allowed to speak out simply because society is generally right now sick on this topic. And what to do if you want to manipulate a society and you want to control people and especially men. First of all, you take away their basic strength. And the basic strength of the man, for which everybody values him, is power, protection, the power that can create safety. And right now, men are having less and less opportunity, first of all, to know how to protect themselves, how to protect their close ones. They don't know how to handle their inner anger, and they're made to believe that anger is pure evil. I want to share with you that anger and being evil are two absolutely different things. Anger is being sent by the soul down to the body, to the avatar, to change something. So when you don't like somebody, something, what you're doing, or when somebody is doing, or something is happening in your reality, you get aggression. And I inspire you, men, to use this aggression in action. If you don't like something, act. Don't speak, act. Or speak so an action would happen and the reality would change. Don't simplify, don't lower down your inner voice of your soul towards the things that you feel are incorrect. As eventually there's emotions and there are feelings. Anger is usually part of the feelings of the soul. When the anger is not transformed into actions, then they become emotions. Then a man or any person can lose themselves in emotions, in shouting, in blabbering, but not doing anything. And this is the number one problem which happens by people that use cannabis, and especially by the man. First of all, it's a very individual tool which suits a very small amount of people to work with it. Secondly, the shamans that work only with weed and don't have yet a fulfilling, let's say, life and reality which they desire, then I don't see a meaning why you're trying to guide other people, as when they're with you, it will work. Without you, it won't work. But you're already putting a person into position to get addicted to a medicine plant that might destroy their will of power, because they literally will avoid fighting and they would rather smoke and avoid the fight, avoid the creation, avoid the transformation, avoid the truth, avoid life. And they would rather watch TV, watch cartoons, play computer games, rather than to focus on developing communicational skills, developing relationships, creating something physical which matters, or go to a martial art, or go dancing, or anything. So My simple conclusion, which I can carry towards marijuana and cannabis, that it's used a very small amount of people. In areas where it was legalized, the vibration now of the level where you can reach in cannabis has fell down profoundly. Like here in Thailand, when it was illegal, when you would smoke, you would go very high. Now, when you smoke and all people around are smoking, the vibration has lowered it down. It's on a lower vibration because people who don't do practices and drinking alcohol and got the opportunity to get access to it are literally downgrading the vibration of this medicine plant. So that reason, I want to share that, especially for the young people in Europe, if you're satisfied with your life, if you're happy, if you're strong, you have good relationships, if you're doing your creative arts, sports, and traveling the world and enjoying in harmony your life, no issue, please. Enjoy cannabis, you can do it. But if in your life you have problems, you have issues, you have pain, you're not satisfied with the reality that you have around, you're not satisfied with the relationship that you have around, then avoid cannabis. Solve your problems. Don't think that putting the issue on a later spot for solving will solve the issue. Don't think that if you will numb your pain, numb your aggression, numb yourself, something will change. It will only guide you to further destruction, and you will eventually bring yourself to a more hardcore life experience. So that reason, I inspire young people to smoke cannabis only when they're happy, only when you have solved your problems and issues, only when you have deserved it. You can use it as a practice, but make it as a gift. Use it only when you're happy, because when you're sad, this might block your opportunity to transform things. If you're really in a very critical situation, of course you can use cannabis, but just remember, use it, but work upon yourself. You can use cannabis, it can give you the energy, but you have to work. You have to work upon yourself. You have to understand what to do. And your actions should guide your transformation, not your medicine plant guiding your transformation. So, for that reason, I want to inspire everybody to focus on themselves, and for the youngsters to know better use Amanita Muscaria. Better use medicine plants that don't get as sedative. So work with your soul, work with your consciousness, better work with Amanita as it provides energy, gives clarity, it is very grounding effect, and you're gonna have connection with your soul. If you use cannabis, have a very good teacher who can show you how to work with it. Use it when you're happy. Don't use it when you're sad. Don't avoid to use it when you have many problems. Create for mental reward for yourself and use it in a wise, profound way. You came to this reality and not to fly in other dimensions, but to make and create something here. If you had another story, then you would be already enlightened and you wouldn't be born in this world. But if you have a physical body, then it means that there's something special prepared for you in this world. Discover it. You have a very special game that you're playing with your soul, so follow it. Discover who you are and be yourself. And for everybody now who, let's say, abuses cannabis, I highly inspire. Use Amanita. It will help you to let go of cannabis, focus on physical sports and activity, give yourself good rest, and eat good. Take care of your physical, emotional, mental bodies, meditate, and find out the methods on how to increase your level state of energy and consciousness. And know that cannabis suits a very small amount of people for spiritual practices. So that's why I don't recommend this medicine plant at all for spiritual practices. Only for the ones that truly feel an inner strong call at certain times and moments. So I hope that this will help. And just know, every medicine plant, as any substance, it's a tool. Your consciousness is the main instrument that makes this tool go round. Train your consciousness, and then eventually for you, there will be no difference between any medicine plants. You'll be able to work with all of them if you need, but eventually you will feel yourself so good that you won't need any of them. And that is on what I inspire you to focus on. Focus from the very start, where is the spiritual elite located, as eventually everybody who follows God comes to the same conclusions. So thank you very much. Much love and blessings. And thank you, Dennis, for asking such a wonderful question. And may this help for the ones who are in search.